What if the love, the friendship, or the opportunity you're chasing is already yours, but you're too busy doubting to feel it? What if your constant searching is the very reason you haven't found it? There's a silent truth most people miss. When something is truly meant for you, it doesn't come with noise, confusion, or fear. It comes with stillness, with peace, with an inner recognition that feels older than thought. That's what Neville Goddard taught, not just in his words, but in the lives transformed by those who practiced his principles. You're not here by accident. Something in you already knows that the thing you're trying to manifest, whether it's someone's love, a second chance, or even closure, was never outside of you. Neville said, change your conception of yourself and you will automatically change the world in which you live. So in today's video, we're going to uncover exactly how to shift your inner state so that what belongs to you recognizes you and returns. This isn't about tricks. This isn't about chasing someone until they finally see your worth. It's about becoming so aligned with your own value that everything truly meant for you is drawn into your life without force. You'll learn 9 deeply powerful insights, each one designed to reveal how your assumptions shape who stays, who leaves, and who shows up next. These keys will not only shift how you see others, but how you see yourself, and that changes everything. You'll discover why trying harder can push your desires further away, why the ones who belong in your life will feel like home, why chasing is a symptom of self-doubt, and how to live in the end, the state of already having what you seek. Most people have never heard what you're about to hear. Neville didn't just teach about manifesting money or success. He showed people how to manifest alignment, recognition, love without struggle. He told stories of people who imagined themselves already chosen, already embraced, already enough, and watched their outer world transform accordingly. Because the world responds to your self-concept, not your wishes, not your effort, your self-concept. What if you stopped asking, do they want me? And started living as if you're the one they've been waiting for all along? That's the kind of energy that shifts timelines, the kind of confidence that doesn't make noise, it just moves and everything moves around it. Neville taught that your assumptions are seeds, and once planted, the bridge of incidents begins to form. You don't have to force the bridge, you simply walk in faith. In this video, you'll hear how to make that shift, practically and powerfully, without needing signs, clues, or endless waiting. Here's what you'll walk away with: a deep understanding of Neville's law of assumption, applied to love, relationships, and meaningful connections. How to stop chasing and start receiving without pretending, manipulating, or faking confidence. Why peace is the true confirmation that something is for you. The role of inner silence in attracting what's truly aligned. How to feel the end of your desire, even when nothing outside has changed yet. This isn't just another motivational video. This is a shift in perception, a return to inner knowing. If something or someone is truly meant for you, you'll just know. It won't come with begging. It won't require you to betray yourself just to keep them. The right people will recognize you in your wholeness. The right path will unfold under your steady steps. And if you don't feel that yet, if there's still anxiety, still doubt, still effort, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand how to move into the quiet power of certainty. Not certainty about the future, but certainty in who you are. And that changes how everything responds to you. So whether you're dealing with heartbreak, stuck in waiting, or just wondering when your time will come, this video is for you. Because your time comes the moment you assume it already has. Your identity is the magnet. Your self-concept is the invitation. And what's meant for you never needs to be chased. It only needs to be claimed. Welcome to Ignis Mindset. If you find value in awakening your power through self-concept, mental imagery, and Neville's timeless wisdom, make sure to subscribe and join our growing family. Together we don't chase, we shift. Now let's dive in. Before we talk about the love you want or the people you hope to keep in your life, we have to go back to the most foundational truth Neville Goddard ever taught. You are always assuming something about yourself, about others, about your worth. And whatever you assume, that becomes your reality. Neville's law of assumption is not just about wealth or success. It's not only about manifesting material things. It deeply, and perhaps most powerfully, applies to your relationships. Who you attract, who stays, who values you. It all stems from one root, your self-concept. When Neville said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, he wasn't telling you to pretend. He was telling you to occupy a state, a feeling space where you are already what you desire, not hoping, not wishing, already. Now imagine applying that to love. Instead of wondering, do they love me? You move from the state of being loved, deeply, unquestionably. You walk as if your presence is a gift, as if your attention is sacred. You move in a way that says, I don't need to be chosen. I already am. This want. It's about who your state of being magnetizes. Are you operating from the identity of someone who is constantly overlooked, doubted, or rejected? Or are you resting in the energy of someone already cherished? The self-concept you carry is the gatekeeper. It determines who enters your life. And just as importantly, it determines who stays. Some people only stay because you allow it from a place of lack. You tolerate being misunderstood, disrespected, or undervalued because your self-concept silently whispers, this is the best I can get. But the moment you shift that inner identity, the external world responds. Suddenly those who aren't aligned begin to fade, and those who match your new state begin to appear. Neville was clear. The world is yourself pushed out. So, if you want a relationship that is rooted in love, respect, and peace, it has to start within. You cannot create from emptiness. You can only receive what reflects the state you occupy. And that's where the second truth comes in. You don't chase what's yours. You never have to. In fact, the very act of chasing something implies that you believe it's separate from you, that it doesn't belong to you yet. But Neville taught that what you are one with in consciousness, you must experience. So if you truly believe a person, a love or a bond is yours in the unseen realm, you don't chase. You allow, you receive. If it's truly yours, you won't need to beg for it. Those were not just poetic words. They were a map. Begging, pleading, overthinking. These are signs that your assumption is not in place, that you are still rooted in fear, in lack, in doubt. But look at nature. Look at those who are truly aligned. You'll notice something strange. Things seem to just happen for them. Love shows up easily. People are drawn to them. They don't over-explain. They don't push. They don't try too hard. Why? Because their assumption is already set. They already feel chosen. And the world mirrors it back. Desperation blocks the natural flow. It creates tension in the space that was meant for receiving. Neville taught that imagination and feeling are the creative forces, but those forces must be accompanied by trust, by the quiet confidence that says, what is mine is already moving toward me. If you're constantly second-guessing someone's presence in your life, ask yourself, are you assuming the feeling of being loved, or are you assuming the feeling of being abandoned? Because the truth is, your world won't contradict your assumptions. It will only echo them. True love, true connection, true destiny. They don't come to those who try the hardest. They come to those who believe without needing proof. And that belief must come first, not after a message, not after an apology. Now, you are not here to convince anyone of your worth. You are here to live in a way that reflects your worth, regardless of who notices. Neville said, dare to believe in the reality of your assumption. and watch the world play its part relative to its fulfillment. That includes relationships. Dare to believe that you are loved now, even if the phone is silent. Dare to walk as if the one meant for you is already aligned with your energy, even if they haven't arrived yet. There's a strange thing that happens when you truly rest in this energy. The anxiety fades, the pressure disappears, and suddenly the need to chase is replaced by the grace to receive. Some will leave your life, others will enter, but none of it will feel like loss, because you will know it's all matching your new assumption. Those who cannot match the state of love you carry will fade, and those who can will feel magnetized to you. This is not manipulation. It's not about controlling people. It's about aligning with the state that attracts what matches it. So ask yourself, who am I assuming myself to be in love? Someone who is chosen, safe, seen, or someone still questioning their place in someone else's life? Neville didn't say to wait until the world changes. He said to change your assumption, and the world must follow. Your assumptions about relationships are not private. They are public. They shape your body language, your energy, the way you speak, the way you respond to silence or attention, everything. And that's why Neville's law of assumption is not just a theory. It's the foundation of who stays in your life and how they treat you. You don't chase what's yours, because what's truly yours doesn't need to be forced. It flows to those who already believe it belongs. So the real question isn't will they come back or do they love you? The real question is, what am I feeling right now? Because that assumption is the beginning of everything. Neville Goddard's wisdom always returns to one central law. Feeling is the secret, not thought, not words, not effort. Feeling because feeling is the doorway to reality. It is the invisible bridge between assumption and manifestation, especially through relationships. You may think you want someone back, or think you're in love, but thought is not created unless it's successful. But rather, what do you feel when these are the energies of resistance. You cannot hold the state of that. You cannot beg the universe for peace and radiate anxiety at the same time. The two contradict. Neville did not teach you to force anything. He taught you to feel your way into alignment. When you feel deeply, you bypass logic, you bypass resistance, you enter into union with what you already believe is yours. That's why he said, you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. There is a vast difference between needing someone and knowing they belong. One is noise, the other is silence. One drains your spirit, the other strengthens it. Desperation says, I need you to feel whole. Alignment says, I am whole, and in my wholeness, I know you are here. When you're forcing something, you're usually trying to change the outer world. You overtext, you overthink, you script scenarios in your head. You say too much. You try to read between lines that were never even written. And all of this comes from a place of not being fully settled in your own state. But when you feel aligned, the whole energy shifts. You do less, you say less, you radiate more. The person who moves from feeling knows that nothing real can be lost, and nothing aligned will be taken. Inner calm isn't laziness. It's evidence that you've made peace with your own power. You're not pretending everything is okay. You know it already is. Neville's teachings were never about manipulation or trying to bend someone else's will. They were always about embodying a state where love is natural, where being chosen is normal, where peace is not earned, it is remembered. When you are truly aligned with the right person or path, your body knows, your spirit settles. You no longer obsess over timelines. You no longer need constant reassurance. You are no longer living from the state of not yet. You are living from already done. You start to notice the signs, not in the outer world at first, but within. There is peace instead of anxiety. You stop waiting for a text to feel validated. You stop checking stories or wondering what they're thinking. Your heart becomes your compass, not their reactions. That's how you know you're lying. You move from faith, not fear. Neville always reminded us that faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. You don't need proof to believe. You believe, and then proof comes. When you're with the right person or when you're moving toward the right relationship, you will feel this invisible loyalty. You'll believe in it. Not because you have all the answers, but because the peace inside you is louder than the noise outside. You begin to feel joy in solitude just as much as in their presence. This is one of the greatest signs of alignment. When your inner world is rich, you don't fear losing someone. You don't panic when you're alone. You actually enjoy your own space. You aren't reaching out just to fill silence. You're choosing presence over pressure. And when the right connection arrives, it enhances your solitude rather than threatens it. When Neville talked about assuming the wish fulfilled, he meant that the feeling itself is the proof. You don't need to wait for confirmation. The way you feel tells you what's coming. And that's why the aligned person doesn't chase, doesn't force, doesn't beg. They live from a place of fullness. And that fullness magnetizes everything meant for them. Your future begins to feel safe, not uncertain. That doesn't mean you see every detail or know every step, but there's a quiet knowing, an emotional security. You don't wake up with dread. You don't constantly feel like you're walking on eggshells. You feel trusted, safe, held, and more importantly, you feel that within yourself. The person aligned with their true path doesn't ask, do they like me? They ask, am I staying in the state of being loved? They don't ask, is this real? They ask, am I loyal to the feeling that it's real? Because they know that everything stems from the inner state. The relationship you want does not appear when the outer world behaves. It appears when you behave differently in consciousness. Feeling always comes first, not effort, not logic, not convincing someone to choose you, just feeling. When you calm your spirit and return to the feeling of being already chosen, already loved, already enough, everything begins to align. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped resisting it. Neville's wisdom lives in that stillness. He never told us to chase. He told us to imagine and to feel that imagination is real now. Because once you feel it, it's yours. Not someday, not soon, now. Living in the end of love means deciding right now that you are no longer seeking, waiting, or hoping for the relationship you desire. You are already living from it, not toward it, not beside it, not around it, but from within it. Neville Goddard said, you must dare to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And that includes love. That includes being held, being cherished, being seen in your wholeness. No more delaying your peace until someone texts you. No more waiting for someone to choose you to feel chosen. Instead, choose to become the version of you who is already loved. This version walks differently, speaks differently, thinks differently. They're not questioning if they're worthy. They're not wondering if they're too much. They don't shrink themselves to fit into someone's uncertainty. They are calm. They are clear. They are rooted in love. And they feel it first in their imagination, where all creation begins. Living in the end of love doesn't mean pretending someone is in your life. It means living from the emotional state as if they already are. You don't need to fake anything. You simply surrender into the assumption, I am already loved in the way my heart recognizes. You imagine conversations that reflect truth. You visualize peace, not chaos. Warmth, not worry. You smile for no reason, because your subconscious is feeding you the joy of what is already forming. This is not delusion. This is creation. All things begin within. And when you do this correctly, persistently, the subconscious mind accepts this new state as fact. You're no longer arguing for love. You are radiating it. And the subconscious, which Neville called the womb of creation, begins to reshape the outer world to match the inner one. But you must let the subconscious do its work. You must stop trying to force, control, or push people into position. That is not love. That is fear. And fear never creates what is lasting. This is why detachment is not indifference. It is power. Neville said detachment is trust, not trusting someone else, trusting the imaginal act, trusting the seed you planted in your mind, trusting the law that what you feel consistently will harden into fact. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It means you are done gripping. You are done pleading with life to give you what you already know is yours. You release the timeline. You release the fear of loss. You release the pressure to perform. And in that silence, something incredible happens. You begin to rest in your state. And from that state, you begin to witness the unfolding of what Neville called the bridge of incidents. This is the invisible thread of life rearranging itself quietly, precisely, to bring your assumption into form. Sometimes it comes through silence, through a moment of peace that replaces weeks of obsession. Sometimes it comes through disconnection, because what you imagined is too big for the version of the relationship you once had, and life must make space. Sometimes it comes through an unexpected message, a meeting, a move, a moment of strange coincidence that you did not and could not have planned, but you feel it, you know it, it clicks because your subconscious has already walked that path. And now the outer world is catching up. There is a story Neville often told of a woman who imagined being married to the man she loved, even though he had drifted away. Every night she would fall asleep feeling his arms around her, not hoping, not doubting, just feeling. Weeks passed, months passed, no contact, no signs. But her assumption never changed. One day she received a letter, an apology, an invitation, a reunion. No begging, no chasing, just a perfect unfolding of events because she lived in the end. That is the bridge of incidents, and it never shows up in the way you expect. That's why detachment is essential, because when you are too obsessed with the how, you miss the unfolding. Neville didn't say manipulate. He said imagine. He didn't say monitor. He said live from. He didn't say beg. He said assume. So when you find yourself questioning the timeline, or fearing it won't happen, or feeling tempted to chase, return to the end. Close your eyes. Feel the warmth. Feel the certainty. Hear their voice. Hear your own laughter. Let it become real within. You are not waiting for the outer world to prove your inner state. That would be like asking the mirror to change before you smile. You smile first, and the mirror follows. This is the heart of living in the end of love, not to impress anyone, not to attract validation, but to walk in the calm knowing that love is already yours. You are not incomplete. You are not forgotten. You are not unworthy. You are the source of love, and those meant for you will always recognize it. And if they don't, let them go, because what is truly meant for you is not fragile. It does not vanish because you paused. It does not leave because you stopped chasing. It does not run because you rested. It shows up because you did. You lived in the end. You surrendered the timing. You walked the bridge of incidents with quiet trust, and you let your imagination, the true creative force, do what it was always designed to do. Create. There comes a point when striving ends. The endless questioning, analyzing, and overthinking, all of it falls away. And in that stillness, something subtle but undeniable rises within you. A quiet knowing, not the kind that shouts, not the kind that demands proof, but a certainty that speaks in silence. You will just know. Neville Goddard often described this inner state as the signal that you're aligned, not with an idea or a fantasy, but with your truest reality. When something is truly for you, whether it's a person, a moment, or a path, you won't feel anxious about it. You won't need constant signs. You won't need to force it into place or explain it to anyone else. The knowing isn't loud, it's peaceful, it's stable. It says, this is yours. Relax. This kind of inner confidence cannot be faked. It can't be manufactured through logic or pushed into existence by external validation. It's born from assuming the state of being, the feeling of already having it, not just the thing or the relationship, but the version of you who is no longer lacking it. You may not have all the details. You may not know exactly how it will unfold, but that doesn't matter, because Neville's teaching was never about collecting evidence. It was about inhabiting the end. And once you inhabit that end, even just emotionally, your internal compass begins to guide you, not with urgency, not with fear, but with peace. That peace is your sign. You stop needing to be convinced. You stop obsessing over their words or second guessing your worth. Because deep down, you feel it. What is meant for you will not require you to abandon yourself. It will not exhaust you. It will not make you beg. True alignment is soft. It doesn't rush. It doesn't force. It whispers, "You're home." And the more you rest in this truth, the more you see how reality mirrors your inner state. Neville made it clear, reality is not something we chase. It's something we generate. It flows from what we persistently imagine, believe, and feel. So if you're searching, if you're forcing, if you're clinging to the unknown, pause. Ask yourself, what version of me is doing the seeking? Is it the one who believes they're lacking love, or the one who assumes they are the embodiment of love? Because if it's truly yours, it will align. And if it doesn't, that's not rejection. That's protection. That's preparation. That's your inner world, making space for something that actually reflects your worth. The ego wants control. It wants to predict. But the soul, the deeper self, doesn't need to chase. It knows. It trusts. It surrenders. Neville said, you do not manifest by effort. You manifest by identity, by stepping into the version of yourself who is no longer grasping, no longer waiting, no longer confused. The version of you who lives in the end, confidently, calmly, and joyfully. This is how love arrives. Not by demanding it, but by becoming the version of you who already has it. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need to convince anyone. You simply need to feel the fulfillment internally first. This feeling, once sustained, is what brings about the bridge of incidents that leads to the physical manifestation. And often that bridge is made of silence, of space, of a strange confidence that makes no sense to the world but feels undeniably right within. That's how you'll know. It won't feel frantic. It won't feel like grasping. It will feel like truth. So let go of what isn't peaceful. Let go of what keeps you guessing. Let go of what feels heavy, conditional, or uncertain. You are not meant to fight for what's already yours in the unseen. Rest, assume, trust. Now I want to ask you, have you ever just known something was meant for you? Was there a moment when clarity spoke louder than doubt? If so, share it. Not just with us, but with yourself. Because those are the moments that remind you your inner world always knows first. And if something in today's message spoke to you, if Neville's wisdom lit something within you that you had forgotten, hold on to that. Write it down, reflect on it, and let it guide how you move through the world. Because this journey is not about chasing anything. It's about assuming everything. And now that you've heard these keys, it's time to ask yourself, which one do I need to embody today? Not remember, embody. Let it live in your tone, in your walk, in your silence. Thank you for spending this time with us. If any part of this spoke to your heart, like this video, comment your favorite insight and subscribe to Ignis Mindset for more content that awakens your truest self. Someone you know is holding on to something that is not meant for them. Send this to them. Let them hear what their soul already knows. And as always, assume boldly. Live from the end. Trust the quiet knowing. It's already yours.